Ugh. Woof, bitch, woof. Sorry, white people, that's not a spirit animal, that's your fursona. What's up? Hi again, how are you guys doing today? Because I'm doing absolutely awful. Now, after you answer that first question, I have another question to ask you, but let me give you a second to answer the first one before I do that. Okay, I hope you've answered that first question by now, otherwise me standing here was just really awkward and I've wasted both of our time. But the follow-up question I wanted to ask you was, have you ever seen those short little 6 or 7 second long videos? Vines, I think they were called, specifically one of a dog driving a car?
Greg, pass this idiot.
I know I've seen that Vine before. In fact, I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it so many times because I just find everything that's going on in that Vine so intriguing. From the first time I saw that loop, a number of questions popped into my head. Things like, what is that good boy doing in there? Who gave that pupper the keys to a car? Why isn't he wearing a seatbelt? Now, all of these might seem like fairly obvious questions that all of you may have had if you were just now watching this Vine for the first time. Or even if it's not the first time that you've watched that Vine, I wouldn't be surprised if you asked those questions to yourself the first time you did see it. Which I'm glad if you have seen it before, because it's a very good Vine. But more importantly, it's a Vine that got me thinking. It got me thinking about the concept of a dog, a canine unit, sat behind the wheel. And it got me thinking about said concept so much that I felt compelled to further research it. I had to know more. So to start, of course, I went to the most reliable source of information on the internet, the YouTube search bar, and typed in a very simple but effective search of dogs that can drive, and the findings were shocking. The first result I found was a video entitled Meet Porter, the world's first driving dog. A video that at this point is now over 5 years old. I say we take a quick peek at what this collection of fast-moving images accompanied by audio has to offer to us.
Good boy! On the streets right now, Hot issue on the streets right now. Yeah. Ride with me.
Wow, that's really cute, and also really cool, and if you disagree, get fat fucking AIDS. Now, I couldn't help but notice that this particular dog appears to be driving in New Zealand. The first tip-off was that the steering wheel was on the wrong side of the car, and I don't care what you think of that, United Kingdom, it's the wrong fucking side. And also, the websites listed in the description are drivingdogs.co.nz and spca.org.nz. The NZ, I presume, stands for New Zealand. Now, the name of this YouTube channel is literally just The Driving Dogs, and it's absolutely amazing. And if you go to the About section of this channel, apparently the Driving Dogs website is associated with the SPCA, which helps find homes for thousands of dogs. Isn't that just great? Oh yeah, the About section also has this bit. Caution, in the interest of everyone's safety, please don't try to teach your dog to drive. Porter, Guinea, and Monty were trained in a safe, controlled environment under the guidance of professionals. All training was conducted with animal safety as top priority in a specially modified vehicle. Porter, Ginny, and Monty being the 3 dogs featured as having learned how to drive on this YouTube channel. It's just a whole lot of wholesome videos, and if you're interested in watching a channel with great content that's almost certainly never going to upload again, this one in Ramsey Gaming might just be for you. The former, if only for getting to watch the process of a dog learning how to drive. Now, if we go back to the search results for dogs that can drive, another video that seems to have done quite well for itself is one where a dog with strangely human-looking hands pulls up to order food in a drive-thru.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
You are such a handsome guest, sir. Would you like some water?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
How about a treat for just being so darn cute?
Yes, thank you so much. Forget the water.
Now, while this video of a dog showing up in a drive-thru is most certainly wholesome and cute to watch, just on a hunch, for some reason, I think there's actually a person driving the car under the jacket who's just off camera. And to me, that's just cheating. But after the idea of people reacting to a dog in a drive-thru got in my head, I just couldn't let go. So I had to find a better one with better reactions, and I did. This one is about a year old, posted by Big Dawes TV, and the idea is that he'll pull up to the window looking all human and stuff, and then when he gets handed what he ordered, he asks for a large water or says that they missed something in his order, and while they go off to go get whatever, he switches himself out for his dog and just lets him sit there to confuse various fast food establishment employees.
Get up, boy. Get up. Good boy.
Here you go. Whoa! Whoa. Dude.
I don't care if this is fake, I fucking love this shit, bro, it's fantastic. But all of this looking at dogs behind steering wheels has dredged up another Vine in my memory. Another one of a dog driving a car, except this time the dog is even more hella rad. Man's just swerving fucking donuts in the snow like he's Captain Falcon. It doesn't get much better than that if we're being honest. There's also this Vine where a dog is just chilling in front of the steering wheel in his car, while the guy in the car next to him grills him on where he learned to drive, instead of just leaving him alone and letting him get on with his day.
Is that a dog in a car? Hey! Where'd you learn to drive?
In your mom's asshole Steve-O sounding monkey ass.
Like, come on, man, you wouldn't ask an adequate human driver where they learn to drive, only ones who are bad at it. And it seems like you're just now seeing this dog in a car for the first time, not any of his skills behind the wheel at all. Now, we're at a point where you might be asking, Kwite, what is the purpose of you talking about dogs that can drive cars? You still haven't explained at all why the original dog didn't have his seatbelt on, so what's all the hubbub about? I sure am glad I pretended you asked that. That way I can answer my own question, because boy do I have some suggestions on the practical use of canine drivers. I'm sure some of you have heard about some of the self-driving car stuff that companies have been experimenting with recently. Like Elon Musk and Tesla have been dabbling that in a little bit. Also notably, ride-sharing services like Uber have been experimenting with self-driving cars that can take people to and from places without the awkwardness of trying to make small talk with the driver without coming off as an imbecile, or trying to look down at your phone fast enough to avoid conversation altogether. Hell, earlier this year at CES, companies revealed that they have been going that extra mile and have been working tests on self-driving pizza delivery. If that isn't peak capitalism, then it's probably something else. Now, while these self-driving cars are interesting in concepts, some of the people behind its manufacturing are a little weird about it. Like, Uber was forced to take their self-driving cars off of San Francisco roads a little while ago because they didn't want to apply for a permit that would mark their automated cars as test vehicles for some reason. And you see, there's been all of this general controversy over the concept of self-driving vehicles. A lot of people are scared of getting in these cars because they're putting their trust into a machine. They are entrusting their safe arrival to a desired location in the hands of something inorganic and something that they can't physically see in the seat next to them. Even though the machine who's driving you might technically or statistically be no less safe or perhaps even more safe to drive with than an actual person, and there's always going to be that fear that as we rely more and more on tech in our daily lives, they're just going to become easier and easier to hijack and hack in general. Now, to these people, you may just say to just not get a self-driving car if it's an option not to. Request a physical human driver if it makes you more comfortable. But if we get a human driver, that brings up the need for us to interact with other people. And then you can also make the argument that you have to put your trust in the hands of a complete stranger. And what did your parents say about strangers as a child? Do you remember? Because I don't. I wasn't there when you were growing up. I'm not part of your nuclear family or one of your childhood friends. Come on, man. You can't just expect shit like that from me. It's just unreasonable. So with those two scenarios of someone or something else driving you somewhere in mind, this is where the dogs that can drive come in. What puts humans more at ease than a dog? They're cute, they're huggable, they don't cheat on you and fuck your best friend behind your back. They have the potential to assuage all the worries of those people who might not feel comfortable trusting their lives to a machine or to a complete stranger. Both problems are solved at once! The dog is an organic sentient being that you can physically see and give pats to. And even if you don't know the dog personally, who cares? Just look at the fluffy puppy. He's so soft and innocent, there's no way it's gonna crash this car. But I wanted to get an outside perspective on this. I am just one floating hoodie after all. So I reached out on Twitter and asked for some arguments for why dogs should be allowed to drive. So let's have a look through the replies, shall we? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Argue, where you give me your hot takes and your even hotter questions and I give my thoughts on them. DFace or @ExtremeBlitzAlt says, because they're better drivers than us. And I must say, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, if we just refer back to the vines we showed earlier in this video, how many of you guys can do donuts as rad as the dog who was doing them in the snow? They'd probably at least be more courteous than human drivers or get less aggravated from road rage, so there's that. Scrubby says it would be very cute, and once again, I have to agree. Dogs are naturally adorable, and seeing them be good boys behind the wheel of a vehicle, I think only has the potential to increase that cuteness factor. If we employ these methods, I think it will seriously help to boost the morale among those who are lucky enough to get driven around by dogs. Marcus, or @Link15Lion, says that humans stand for the majority of crashes, and yet for a third time, I have to agree. The majority of car crashes in history have been with both cars having humans behind the wheel, and the amount of crashes that involve dogs behind the wheel are significantly less than that of humans, which only adds to the point that DFace made when he said that dogs are better drivers than us. @WorshipClaptrap, whose name on Twitter I refuse to fucking read, says that we don't have to take them to the vet, they can take themselves. And while I yet again do agree with this point, I must admit that the message is very tainted by who the messenger is. But yes, if dogs were allowed to drive, it would allow them to be more independent from us humans, being able to live with us, but also able to go out and do things during the day while we're at our jobs or doing whatever, so they don't have to be alone at home all by themselves. We could develop dog-friendly versions of all our favorite places to visit as human consumers and develop a doggy society that runs parallel and in tandem with our own. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Anyways, that's all we really have time for today. Please realize that most of the stuff I said in this video was not meant to be taken seriously. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new, subscribe. I would say I have a podcast with Wild Spartans and FBS Diesel called Loudmouse, but that podcast now has a Discord server. So link to that in the description if you want to check it out. You can follow me on Twitter @Kwite and on Instagram @Kwite.png. Links to both of those in the description below. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I will see you guys next time.